Howdy toddy everybody, this is Tommy with Colonel Reb Scale Models coming at you with the final reveal on the Italeri 1/72nd scale Junkers Ju87 D-5 Stuka that I am doing a buddy build with PapaDan over at Hobby Time with PapaDan. So Dan has finished his and has been finished for a little while, and he is going to be redoing his final reveal video and posting it, and we're going to release them hopefully at around the same time. We just thought that'd be a little bit more interesting since it took me a lot longer to finish mine. As always, y'all know me, I'm not a fast builder by any means, but this is the first 72nd scale plane I've done in quite a while to this degree of trying to get it somewhat accurate, historically speaking. So this is a Stuka that served on the Russian front in '44, just like Dan's Stuka is. His, I think, was in group 3, mine was in group 5. These are the instructions showing the group that mine was part of, the squadron, and then Dan's is a squadron 3, I believe. And like I said in the first video, and you'll see in Dan's video, his was the entire camo scheme. That was a full winner, which means it was white all the way over. Now this is, I'll show you quickly the box art on the back. So you'll see that his is going to be completely white all over and just, you know, dirtied up. The bottoms of both of them are about the same. Mine, as you can see, has some of its underlying splinter camo showing through in different parts. So it came out to be about what I had hoped. What I did was I completely painted the plane in the winter in the splinter camo with 2 different colors, and then I sprayed over it with a white. And then what I did was I kind of roughed it up in areas where you see it is exposed. I went through, actually, since it was just the cheap white Walmart paint, flat, and I just dusted it really lightly, you know, like a mist coat, and then went back actually with some higher grit sandpaper and just kind of sanded off in certain areas so that it would expose, as you can see, the panel lining underneath. You can see the camo coming through on the front leading edges of the flaps and in different places all over, just kind of hit and miss. I wasn't, you know, doing anything in specific as far as a pattern or anything, just kind of hitting it where it just might be scuffed up. I think you can see some of that down here on the back on the rear of the plane where you can see, and you can see a good picture here where you can see it's kind of just scuffed down, and these are all where the panel lines are actually at. So I scuffed those over, and then I actually panel lined some with the mechanical pencil, which was this. It's a number 2 or 0.2 millimeters, very, very small. It's the smallest I think you can buy, at least I could find online. And I got that tip from Kenny May over at Moonwalker Models. Since this is a smaller scale, that 0.2 kind of fits just almost perfectly in those panel lines. And obviously on a bigger, like a 48 scale, you could actually do it in there as well. But with those, you know, you have deeper panel lines. This one didn't have the best recessed panel lines, and I wasn't going to go through and try to, you know, rescribe them all. And, you know, having to do the camo under it, it did kind of lose a little bit of that as I put layers of paint and clear and stuff on it. But I think it worked out well as far as getting the panel lines, and then also with the scuffing up to reveal what was underneath. Now I'm using a different camera setup tonight, so I'm trying to be careful with picking this thing up. The base, real quick, is just a basic base. It's just, and actually it might not show here, this is actually a this was a, what is that? Just a cheap Craftsmart barnwood stain. It's kind of gray, but it might not be showing it gray so much. But I have pictures, and I'll have a lot of pictures at the end of the video that shows you I have one coat on here, and it actually looks a little bit more gray than what it's showing up in the camera. But the base is real simple, and as you can see, I just have it like kind of having driven through and parked, and then I think later I do have a pilot I might get and actually kind of go through and look like he, like walked away from the plane. But what I used, because I had it and I got it on clearance a while back, was this Create Effects snow cap. And honestly, it looks, I don't know, it's kind of splattery looking. It didn't turn out like I thought it would, because I don't really know what scale that's supposed to be for snow. So all I did was I taped this off, sprayed it, and this basically just glued a couple of pieces of little tufted winter grass there and some cat litter that I painted over. And then I just kind of got the width of the tires and just kind of traced it as though it had just driven through and parked. And then just put some dirt, well, some brown under it, and then I dry brushed over it with a white, just kind of to make it look like it rolled through, but it didn't get down into the mud. I thought about making it muddy, but I just kind of left it like it was. The dirtiness of this was created by putting Tamiya weathering powders. I think I did underneath on the tires and the wheels and on the spats here. What little you can see there that's like dirtied up, that's what's called mud in the 3-pack that has desert sand and light sand and mud. And then I did use the other another set of Tamiya powders. Probably not going to pick it up very well here, but you might see it on some of the photos. I used some of the I guess it's like burnt iron and that on the exhaust. And then this is what they call oil stain, which is brushed on here. I tried to do a little bit of chipping underneath on the canopy. The canopy I did hand paint, which was a pain, as it normally would be. But it just didn't have enough recessed lines there to actually tape over and cut and mask to spray over it. So I just kind of hand painted it with some Tamiya, I think it was dark green or olive green. It's a little bit different. The picture, the color is a little bit different than what you would see. That's what you see and what I used on the camo, but it's fairly close. I'm not going for perfection here, and nor was I going for historical accuracy. So, rivet counters be damned, I guess. So I practiced chipping just a little bit on the propeller, a little bit on the prop, the nose, and then on the actual canopy. I scuffed up the canopy a little bit because when you see pictures of these, I mean, the canopies are always kind of dirty, but they also got beat up just like our car headlights do, with things hitting it as you're flying through the air. So they kind of get scuffed up. Little machine guns there, that was a pain. There's hardly anything to attach it to with glue. I did find some swastikas to put here on the tail fins because obviously they did have swastikas on the planes. So I wanted to put those there. The decals went on really good, I thought. This one, the Iron Cross, it's white, and I don't know why they didn't put one in that was a darker one. Maybe that's what it really was, but it kind of blends in when you have the winter camo. But they went on really well. There's just dry brushing like you'd expect, and I'm just going to try to lift up really quick and not break anything. A challenge I had was there's a lot of fiddly things that I had to attach later, like these points here stick up, the bombs. This is your dive brakes on both sides that they use when they're in their steep dives. And so you had to put this one on first, glue this on, and then put the decal on. So that was a little bit of a pain, but Microset did the job. Again, the wheels actually will turn if I push on them. But we're not going to do that. And then I just dirtied it up with that same mud powder that come from Tamiya. You have the two 500-pound bombs, and I think this was a 250-pound bomb in the middle of cradle. But like I said, the decals went on really well. A lot of time spent with the Microset on those dive brakes, but overall, I'm really happy with it. I think that it turned out pretty much like I wanted it to, And like I said, I want to work a little bit more on the base maybe later, but I wanted to get this done because I'm going to be going out of town next couple of weeks, and I want to get this off the bench and finished so that Dan could post his, because he's been waiting for me to do that, and I appreciate his patience. But I really like it. I think it's for having to do it with rattle can, I think I did pretty well. Learned some things not to do also. But overall, I'm really happy with it. Like I said, Stuka is one of my favorite planes, and I think at this scale, it's hard to get a lot of detail in there, but I think it looks pretty good. So I'm pretty proud of it. And I think once it gets a better base to sit on, it'll look even better. But anyway, we're getting a little long here. When I put the pictures up, it's probably going to get close to 14 minutes. So it's going to be one of my longer videos. But I hope you stay and watch the pictures. I have them all the way from the build sequence through the camo, and then putting it together and all the different things all the way to the end. So I took a lot of photos this time. So anyway, so I hope everybody's staying safe. Seems like the country's kind of opening up. We're getting back to some bit of normalcy. And like always, hotty toddy and God bless.